Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
We're recording. It's not like we've got anything to talk about on this episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slow one.
I mean, what are we gonna talk about?
I don't know. We have to make something up, I guess.
Obviously, we're alluding to the massive news which broke not yesterday, the night before, but I was in Las Vegas for the slap thing. I was in bed by 8 p.m. fast asleep. I'm getting old. And I woke up and I looked at my phone as I'm having my coffee. I'm like, oh my God, how did I miss this? Mixed emotions, I'll be honest, as a fan of mixed martial arts, which I still consider myself a fan first. I'm disappointed that we're not going to get to see that fight in Madison Square Garden. On the flip side, the mixed part, I'm over the moon for Tom Aspinall and the opportunity, what he has. No secret, we're friends. You know, it is what it is. It's not me being biased. I'm very excited for the man. But training, wrestling, getting ready for a mixed martial arts contest is a bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got to give Jon Jones a little bit of credit because this is only the second time. He's been in the UFC like 15 years. It's the first time or second time he's had to pull out of a fight due to injury. What was
the first?
Well, he pulled out of, I don't remember who it was. It was like a meniscus knee injury a long time ago. I don't remember. Maybe it was, I want to say maybe it was the first Cormier fight leading up to that. Maybe that got bumped a little bit because of John's injury. I don't remember for sure, but I'm sure Brian or Harrington can find it quick. But anyways, either way, it's the second time he's had to do it, which is not a lot. That's pretty good for as many world title fights as he's been in, world championship training camps, just the level that he's trained at, the people that he's trained with when he was at, at Jackson's. He was in there in the heyday when it was the best of the best, So it sucks. I'm disappointed because I really wanted to see that fight. Kind of on the flip side of you being happy for Tom, I'm gutted for my friend Stipe.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Sorry.
Every month that passes, he's getting older. There's a lot of those guys in the UFC. You give them a month and they got to wait. Someone gets hurt. They got to wait 6 months. That's 6 months of training where they're getting better. They're growing in those 6 months. Stipe's probably not growing. At best, he's maintaining. Yeah.
He's maintaining. And on the flip side, and again, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. And number one, I echo your sentiments because I said I'm sad the fight's not happening. Happy for Tom, of course. Devastated for Stipe to put all that time and effort, sacrifice. We all know how hard it is to get ready for a fight. For the fight to be 2 weeks away and have it pulled away from him like that, of course, commiserations to Stipe and his whole team as well. But as you say, as we just said, when you're getting older, injuries are more prevalent. I mean, could you imagine Stipe gets injured? I'm not putting that evil out there, Ricky Bobby. Right. Do you know what I mean? But, geez, could you imagine? We saw this training footage, shooting for a double leg, and then straight away went down to his knees. It's always the bloody wrestling.
That's how it happens.
I've got my eye injury. Other than that, all the big injuries are from wrestling. My neck, my back, my knees. Wrestling, man, it's just by far the hardest part. That's why I have so much respect for wrestlers, and certainly some people that go on and have these insanely long wrestling careers, and don't have those kind of injuries, that aren't so injury prone and going currently under the knife. There it is. Yeah, nice entry, turns the corner fantastically.
See, and that's a big heavyweight with a really heavy whizzer in too. As he's coming up, you can see that's a lot of torque right there. Like he almost had that takedown. That's a lot of torque on that whizzer. That's how it happens. That's a lot of shoulder injuries, a lot of pec injuries. It's just part of it, it's part of it. And let's just be honest and address the elephant in the room. Jon hasn't been a heavyweight that long. These are bigger guys. He's carrying a lot of load. Yeah. He's heavier than he's ever been. He's training probably with heavier guys than he ever has. That's got to play a little bit of a part.
Well, I'm sure that he's wrestled and trained with lots of heavyweights in the past, but when it comes to the wrestling side of things, that's why it is such a frequently, it's why you get injured so frequently in wrestling, because you're combining two people's body weights. You know what I mean? If you're going for a takedown and you twist, it's two people's body weights and you knee twist. That's why it goes, as you pointed out there, two people's body weight, the whizzer, his weight, all the rest of it, that momentum, the motion caused the tear. And
how much does Jon typically weigh 2 weeks before a fight when he was a light heavyweight? 220, maybe. He's looking pretty thick in that video. So I do think that he kind of tipped his hat a little bit, trying to make sure that everyone was aware that this injury was real. We haven't seen Jon shoot double legs like that in a long time. So that kind of gives a little bit of an idea to his game plan.
I saw a lot of tweets and Instagram posts yesterday. I forget who it was that posted it, saying, Jon Jones is just trying to avoid USADA and all this type of thing. That's absolutely nonsense. It's ridiculous. He's in USADA. Just because you pull out of the fight doesn't mean you avoid USADA. And on top of that, yesterday when I was at the Apex, I heard that Jon was currently under the knife yesterday. So hope everything goes well there. Hope he makes a smooth recovery. Commiserations to Stipe. Did you speak to Stipe? Did you hear anything?
I did. So one last point on Jon. One thing that I think people are forgetting, it gets missed a lot with some of his personal issues that he's had in the past, which I don't get into and I never will. That's his business and his personal life. But it's very clear that there has been some. What gets missed because of some of that stuff and some of the ways some of the other fights have gone, Jon is a real life tough guy. He's very technical. He's very strategic. But when he has to dogfight or be a tough guy, he's shown he can do that too. So we don't hear about Jon getting banged up. We don't hear about him making excuses with injuries, even in close fights. Like he's not much of an excuse maker when it comes to his body of work and his competition. So like if Jon says he's hurt, I would believe that Jon is extremely hurt, because I don't think we would hear about it otherwise. So I just, all bullshit aside between Jon and I've always thought Jon is a legitimate tough guy. And so if Jon says he's hurt, I don't have any reason not to believe him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the man is, if not the GOAT, certainly in conversation, currently ranked as the pound for pound number one. Yeah. I mean, the toughness
and I don't want to see anybody
man,
I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Our competitive rivalry or whatever. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I want Jon to be able to make money and support his family just like the rest of us. So, I hope he heals up quickly and gets back to fighting with Stipe. Stipe's crushed. This is another. I've seen a lot of people online like, well, I can't believe he didn't take the interim fight. He wasn't even offered it. And I think Dana went into more of that last night, saying that it would have been disrespectful to even offer him an interim title fight. And let's just pull back. And this isn't anything that Stipe told me personally. What is he going to fight? He's going to fight Tom Aspinall or Sergei Pavlovich, potentially tougher matchups for half the money? No way. Why would he do that? He doesn't need the money. His idea was either retire or fight Jon Jones. Like, this is a legacy thing. He doesn't need money. He doesn't even care about the title. He's never really cared about it. Like, once he won it, he was like, all right, cool, I did it. Everything after that was legacy, and then you never heard him talk about the title until after he won it. It was about, now I want to defend it more times than anyone else has. And then it was like, I want to beat the mountain that is Francis Ngannou that everyone talks. He's always finding another reason. It's never really been the belt, at least in my experiences with him. He doesn't really talk about the belt. It's about the
and
person,
isn't that beautiful?
The legacy. He's got all the money in the world. He's done his business very well. He's let the important people in his life manage that part of it. I'm sure his wife cares about that, but like, he doesn't really care about that, So he's crushed, and he's expecting he's going to hang out and wait for Jon. He's going to. You said the perfect word. That's what I was going to say. It's a legacy fight. Of course it is. Everybody wants to be the man to dethrone Jon Jones. And apparently, there was rumors that this was going to be his last fight. You just said there, it was either fight Jon Jones or fight nobody. So of course he's not going to want to fight Tom Aspinall or Sergei. Not because Jon doesn't want to fight those guys either, really.
No.
Like, he's been very clear about Pavlovich specifically.
Equate to the same kind of magnitude of an event,
What I mean? Those two might be better than Stipe and Jon. That's very possible. Like in terms of where they are in their careers. That's what I mean. Like, and this isn't a skills and abilities and who beats who. This is who's done what, who's got the name. Jon doesn't want to do full training camps and do all this hard work at this point in his life. And this is me just kind of reading between the lines on some of the things that he said. He wants to do all this work for Pavlovich. He made that very clear. He was like, that doesn't excite me. He's like, the guy's great. He's probably going to be a world champion someday, but that doesn't excite me. But like the legacy part of Stipe excites him at this. And I think that both those guys deserve that. So all the people that are, they need to do this and we got to stick to the script. Fuck off. Until you've done what both of those guys have done, then you get to have an opinion on what happens.
Well, Jon's done that throughout his light heavyweight career. He fought the champions of multiple generations. He fought the next up and comer. He fought the next number one contender. He's done that and he's proven that he can do that. And now he's at the later ends of his career. He's 36 years old. As you said, I mean, you just put it perfectly. So
no and he's done the up and down too. He did the Machida, Shogun, Rampage, Rashad thing. And then not to shit on myself, but then me, Reyes, Thiago Santos. So he got the legends. Then he fought all the up and comers. Like, does he really have to go back? Point. Exactly. Does he really have to start back at the bottom? I don't even like Jon, and I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. But that's what I always said about going up to heavyweight. And that's why I thought maybe he's going to have 3 fights. 1, win the belt. 2, beat this greatest of all time. And then maybe as a conversation point, you could say, then beat the next number one contender. And then that's it. Then you bow out. And then literally what else is there to do? Because the reality is the way the sport works and just the way human beings are. And as we age and get older and slow down and things start to break, as we saw, there's always going to be someone to beat you. So what are you going to do? Just keep giving somebody the opportunity. So we're kind of going off the topic here.
Yeah, but there's always another guy. I think it's
going to be
always another guy.
More than likely, if what Dana said, 8-9 months, international fight week next week. Sorry, next week, next year. That makes sense. You know what I mean? 9 months from now, that's July, I think. So that'll 8-9 months. So that stacks up perfectly for that. So hope surgery goes well. Hope he recovers. Commiserations to Stipe. And yeah, it was a shock though. It was a fucking shock.
Let's go Tom Aspinall though. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, I couldn't be happier for the man. Tom Aspinall is a guy that he's so humble. He's so down to earth. You know what I mean? He's a funny guy. He's a likable guy. He's a quieter guy. He doesn't go out there and talk shit, all that type of thing. He's not that guy. He's a hard worker. He does all his work in the gym. He's done jiu-jitsu since he was a little kid. He was teaching grown men Brazilian jiu-jitsu when he was 16 years old. And you see the way he fights. You see the way he's come up. You see the way he's destroyed almost everybody in the very first round. He is the logical guy. Sergei Pavlovich is also the next logical guy. Co-main event, interim title. That's phenomenal, right? Obviously, you got a path. You got to clear up the mess, the logjam, for a better word, between Jon and Stipe. That fight has to happen. I see some people making some noise saying, hold on a minute. So they're going to fight for the interim belt, but then they don't get to fight Jon. Well, that fight has to happen. Everybody wants to see that fight. It is a legacy fight. And I feel the mixed martial arts community as a whole would feel like the one that got away. Do you know what I mean? If that doesn't happen, we all want to see that. And then I'm sure
we've had too many of those in just our lifetime of being involved in this sport. There's too many ones that got away. There's the GSP, Anderson Silva,
Tony and Khabib. Not the same level.
There was a lot of talk about like Brock Lesnar and Fedor and Kane and Fedor, and there was a lot that got away that we all wanted.
Who's some other ones? Harrington O'Brien, feel free to join the chat if you can think of one. There's got to be one with a Randy Couture.
Yeah, there's got to be.
There's got to be some.
There's a bunch of ones that people talked about that never happened. Like none that were rumored for a long time as much as like a GSP and Anderson Silva. But honestly, oddly enough, I'm almost happy that one never happened now.
Why?
Because then I enjoy the argument on which one was better, and you would have had some finality on it. And it's almost fun having that. It's almost fun keeping them even.
Is there anyone out there that fought both of them?
I don't know. I might know a guy.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know. I'm joking. I don't know. Right, guys, I want to tell you about Kachava, which is one of our newest sponsors. And I am telling you, this supplement, this super blend of superfoods and greens and proteins and everything that you need for your body is amazing. Listen, long gone are the days now where you have to go in and you got to have a protein powder, you got to have your super greens, you got to have your probiotics, your adaptogens, your antioxidants. Kachava has blended it all together in one. It gives you everything that your body craves and you will feel your absolute best. And the good thing is they are delicious. They are absolutely beautiful. It's creamy, smooth, and it comes in 5 delicious flavors. They've got the chocolate, the vanilla, the chai, the matcha, and the coconut acai. Listen, as I said, before you had to have your protein. Well, this has 25 grams of plant protein per serving. And as I said, it's got the superfoods, it's got the greens, the proteins, the antioxidants, the adaptogens, and the probiotics. And let me tell you, you feel fantastic after this. I'm really noticing a difference in my recovery from lifting weights. It's really helping with the protein synthesis. You feel great afterwards. You are energized throughout the day. I'm going to the bathroom nice and regularly, and it looks good when it's coming out. Anyway, moving on from that because it's disgusting, but this stuff is fantastic. Get it all in one. Get all the goodness and all the vitamins, minerals, proteins that your body needs in one little scoop of Kachava, and you can get 10% off for a limited time. So right now, go to kachava.com, Kachava, kachava.com/believe. You'll get 10% off your first order. Kachava.com/believe. So let's talk about Tom. I mean, listen, he said some beautiful words about me yesterday, and I'm very, very humbled, and I appreciate the kind words, Tom, but this is his moment. It's not about me. But I did text him as soon as I found out, and I told him essentially what Jason Perillo told me, because you get the fight, you accept the downs, and mine and Tom's situations were very different. I was clawing away, ups and downs throughout the whole time. Finally get the title fight on short notice. And then I started having doubt going, this is so typical. I've always wanted a title fight. Now I get it on 2 weeks notice to get someone that beat me. I'm going to lose. And then everyone's going to say, see, look, he was never that good. Right. So I started having all this doubt. And Perillo told me, and this is what I told Tom Aspinall. He said, Mike, what are you talking about? It's not about the 2 weeks. It's not about the 6 weeks. He said, it's about what you've been doing your entire life. Your whole life has been geared towards this moment. So that's what I text Tom. It's not the training camp. It's not the 2 weeks. It's not the last 5 years, 10 years. It's the last 15 years of your life. You've been slogging away to this. You are the products you are because of all the countless hours of sacrifice that you've done inside the gym. He's always in shape. He's always training. He's not a party animal. He's not necessarily a drinker. Ever since he had the injury against Curtis Blades, he's kind of turned over a new leaf in terms of his discipline. I went and had dinner with him and his dad one night in Manchester back in June, and he's like, no, I don't want to drink. I'm done with alcohol. He had a cheeky beer with me in Paris, but I'm the little devil on the shoulder. But it was only a cheeky one as well. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of his mindset right now. Granted, Sergei Pavlovich, extremely dangerous man. Extremely dangerous man. I saw that meme, and you might have, it's not a meme, a little Instagram video. I think it was Huntington Beach, California, or it looked like it. And he's shadow boxing like a fucking maniac, going a million miles an hour. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Because Sergei, we know about the knockout power. One touch. He's got the death touch for sure.
For sure.
And he doesn't seem like he's the fastest, but on this shadow boxing thing, he is flying. It's unbelievable. He's so fast. I think Tom's more well-rounded. I think he's faster on the feet.
I think Tom makes it look easy. I really do. I think, just to get deep into like kind of my quick analysis when I was thinking about it when it was booked,
please.
I feel like Pavlovich is kind of built to beat guys like Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa,
all day long.
Guys that will stand in front of him. Like guys like Tai and Derek are used to hitting people and them going down once they land. I will say Pavlovich has got a hell of a chin on him. He got an incredible chin. So I think Derek and Tai thought they were going to land. He was going to go down and they were going to get out of there. But he's good at getting hit and firing back right away. He's a great counter puncher. And then he starts really pushing forward. I think Tom throws a nasty 1-2, waits for that counter, ducks under, gets a takedown. And I think he gets one takedown. That's all it takes.
That's exactly what I think, because if you look at the fight, the one loss I think it is that he has on his record, it's to Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen it for a long time. I think he catches a kick. catches a kick, he forces him down, and he finishes him with ground and pound. Granted, that was a few years ago, but what does that show you? It shows that he doesn't have the best defense off his back. It shows that he doesn't necessarily have a sophisticated ground game. I'm sure he knows how to do an armbar and a hip escape and get his guard back, but not the most sophisticated ground game. And sure enough, Alistair Overeem, an incredible fighter. And shout out and congratulations on an incredible career. He retired yesterday. We probably saw that doing the rounds. I'm sure you saw that. But yeah, to your point, I think that's what he does. I was just seeing him versus Marcin Tybura, which happened in March, I think it was. And he was like Muhammad Ali that night. He was floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. And I think it'll be the same thing, in and out, because to your point, Taito Avasi, Derek Lewis's, people like that, that's a crapshoot. Those guys, they can bang. I think Sergei has heavier hands than them, but still, they can knock each other out. Tom's going to be in and out, pumping the jab, level change, boom, take him down, and there it is.
And he doesn't care about Sergei Pavlovich, which in itself is a weapon, because Ty and Derek and all these other guys can say whatever they want leading up to the Pavlovich fight, but you can tell the difference in how they fought. And I heard a quote, maybe I remember, it stuck with me. It was an interview that Tom was doing. I wish I could remember who it was with, but he was it was the way that he spoke about Pavlovich. No one talks about him like that. He was like, yeah, like I'll fight the Russian. Yeah, whoever. I don't care. Like, yeah, I know he's dangerous. I get it. We're all heavyweights. Like, he was very aware of the danger, but also like had a real healthy amount of, I don't give a fuck about that guy. And that's different than a lot of people are gonna be standing across from Pavlovich. Sergei's a really scary guy. I personally stood in front of him, very, very nervous. Like, not even, we were in line to weigh in. I was like, God damn, this guy is big and scary looking. And Tom is like, yeah, whatever. Like, I know I get it. He's scary, but I'll fight him, whatever. And it's very healthy. It's like a healthy respect, but a good, healthy version. I don't give a fuck about that guy either.
I'm excited to talk to Tom because it's weird. And again, I'm not bringing myself back into the conversation, but there is some similarities. I got my title fight on 2.5 weeks notice, and he's getting his on 2.5 weeks notice. We're from the same neck of the woods. He said some really nice words. He said, I've been like a good friend and a mentor to him, which is far too kind. But I do give him a bit of advice here and there, but he doesn't need my advice. All he needs is to be himself. And that's what I told him. I said, just be yourself, Tom. Just go out there and be yourself. The whole world has seen what you're capable of. Obviously, he's got his father, Andy Aspinall. He's been there. That's his right-hand man, his head coach. He's been there the whole time. They have a new gym. They've got a massive room full of gigantic, disgusting heavyweights. Should have seen it in London. Right? Wherever Tom went, he had this posse of gigantic meathead motherfuckers. And they look like the scariest, nastiest bastards, the most do not fuck with group of people that you've ever seen in your life. And I'm always like the little Jack Russell nipping at the heels because I'm a loudmouth little shit. They're all 3 times the size of me, but of course I've got a big mouth, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'll fucking knock you out, you know what I mean? And they're all just like, no, you won't. No, I'm joking, of course, because there was a bit of verbal sparring. I might shut up before we knock you out. I said, fucking come on, then have a fucking do.
Oh, hey.
Like,
has Tom been training with Tyson Fury too? Did he help Tyson?
Yes.
So he's in shape.
He's always in shape.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, holy shit, thinking of big, gigantic men. He's been in there with a heavyweight boxer. It's not like that doesn't work out to his advantage going into this fight.
Well, think about it like this, because Tom just had, what was it? A year, I think a little bit longer than a year away from the octagon because of what happened with Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
And there was times when he came on the show and he talked about it. He said he was thinking, do I even want to do this anymore? Then he remembered how much he missed it. And I told you he's got this new mindset where he's super disciplined now. So he's trying to make up for lost ground. And now he's trying to become the champion. Whereas before he was trying to slow roll it and take his time. Yeah. So you're not going to have a year away where you're injured. And more importantly, you're not earning money. You're not capitalizing on your prime, to then be dicking around. And he thought as well, because we're doing that show, Tales from the Octagon, December, myticket.co.uk, go get yourself one. And he was like, listen, I'll do it. I'm in. But I might be fighting in December on the last pay-per-view. So, and these conversations were pretty recently, you know what I mean? So if there was that The fact that was in his mind means he's at least who cares about doing a training camp? He's going to the gym. Do you know what I mean? He's training, so he'll be ready. Yeah. And so will Sergei Pavlovich, because I think he was the official backup fighter, right?
He was. Yeah, he was the backup. So he was already getting ready.
So Sergei's going to be ready. And let's assume this. If you're Sergei Pavlovich, you're getting ready for either Stipe or Jon Jones. What are you going to be working on?
I'll be wrestling.
Takedown defense.
Yeah.
And that's going to be key. If you're going to go out there and have a successful fight with Tom Aspinall, you need to work on your takedown defense.
How pissed do you think he was? He was like,
Sergei?
Right. Like, worst case scenario, I get Jon Jones or Stipe. Like, fuck. Tom Aspinall. Like,
from that perspective, because you lose to Jon Jones. All right, so what?
Yeah, whatever.
Join the rest of the crew. Do you know what I mean? Join the rest of the gang.
Welcome to the club. Come on over here.
Yeah. Oh, Jon Jones' sons. You know what I mean? All there like that. You've all got like a fucking Jon Jones cardboard cutout face thing. You lose to Stipe Miocic. The greatest heavyweight of all time. In his retirement fight. It is what it is. It was a pleasure to share the octagon with you, sir. I'll tell my children about that when I'm older.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, as you say, listen, tremendous fight. I'm really excited for it. But now you go from those legendary, iconic heavyweights, which Tom will be one day, and who knows, maybe Sergei will be as well. Certainly on his fucking way, that's for sure. Just saying, so I was on my way to a title fight, and the next guy aligned. He kicked my ass, as you say. So that's a bit of a come down. But we can't disrespect Sergei like that. I don't mean disrespect. We're not disrespecting. It's a fight, and anything can happen. Just like in the Jones and the Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. We're going to get to that in a minute. I just watched the press conference. That was hilarious. But it's the same thing. You know what I mean? More than likely, Tyson Fury is going to destroy him, but you never know. One shot. And I think Sergei Pavlovich has a way better chance against Tom than one shot. It's not that. He is skilled. He's a well-trained mixed martial artist, thunderous power, and he will have been working that takedown defense, which I do believe will be a big factor.
He might be 3 takedowns away from being the interim world champion. Yeah, it's not, like you said, it's not just one shot. It could be a couple takedowns. It could be, he's got big leg kicks. Like he's got a lot of ways to win. I'm excited, man. I really am excited.
Did you think that this would be the main event over the other fight? Because I thought it would be, but then when you think about it, the interim over an undisputed,
right?
And by the way, I'm just looking at Sergei Pavlovich. I was just bringing up his wiki. 18-1. The one loss, Alistair Overeem. 15 knockouts. Marcelo Golm, Maurice Green, Shamil Abdurakhimov, Derek Lewis, Taito Avata, Taito Avata, the dirty ass bastard, Taito Avata, Curtis Blades. So, Golm, Green, Shamil, Lewis, Taito Avata, they're not the more, please don't be offended when I say this, the more plodders, the plodding heavyweights. You know what I mean? They're like the old school, stereotypical heavyweight, big guys, very dangerous, little soft, maybe not the most technical. Curtis Blades, a little bit different. He's a proper wrestler. You know what I mean?
But he's not as well rounded, so he's very predictable. I like Curtis. I love his style, but he's a bit predictable.
Yeah, but he did knock him out in round 1, 3 minutes 08.
Yeah. Well, he defended naked takedowns. You know what I mean? Like they weren't set up well. He didn't really punch his way into anything. Curtis kind of shit the bed on that one. He didn't. I think that fight could have been closer had Curtis went into it with a different game plan and a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not trying. This isn't me trying to shit on Curtis Blades. The whole point is he defended.
You're shitting on him.
He defended some takedowns and banged him up for it, on his way out. So Tom Aspinall's a different beast. It's different. Harrington, show yourself, please.
What's going on?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing excellent.
It's great to see you looking so healthy and jolly today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's great. It's great seeing you guys looking good.
Share verbatim. Yesterday, Harrington was trying to get me to reach out to Tom to get him on the podcast.
Okay.
No. It's going somewhere.
Okay.
Share what was said.
Do you want me to read the exact text messages or just summarize it?
Like paraphrase.
It was no, he's got to be very busy because he's in camp, and it's borderline disrespectful to ask.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, it's disrespectful to ask him. He's only got 2 weeks to train. He's not going to want to do podcasts and shit like that, right? And then I look, and he's on Ariel's show. He's on fucking The Mac Life and all this type of shit. I'm like, this. I'm messaging him. So I messaged him. Yeah, I did. And he came back. He said, yeah, I'll do it. He said, I'll do it sometime tonight, today, whatever. I said, listen, at your convenience. But hopefully, you never know. I don't think he's going to be on this show, but hopefully we'll get him. I might have to do a pre-record and we'll insert it in. But yeah, I did. Harrington does that a lot, and God bless him. He's thinking of the show first. You know, but as fighters, I kind of, when it's fight week, I never like to ask. And Harrington's always like, oh, such and such is fighting this week. Ask him to come on the show. And I'm like, I can't do that. They're fighting this week, you know.
I'm a degenerate. That's why I got a hold of Stipe.
Tommy Two Legs.
I was like, I gotta.
You are required for the show. Come on, buddy. Come on. Yeah, big shocker yesterday. Big shocker.
It's a big day.
So I've been so concerned with that. I haven't even looked at the notes. But we just had Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. The press conference went down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it started off, it was a pretty uneventful affair. Jon Fury did his Jon Fury. Jon Fury came out. Jon Fury was like screaming in the air. He ripped his top off. He was going at Mike Tyson, saying, me and you, we're going to fight. We're going to fight, me and you. And because Mike Tyson was being super chill, because you know he is this new version of himself. He's very zen-like. But we've seen him on an airplane when people piss him off. You know what I mean? And there was one point where Jon Fury was kind of walking over to him, and security had to get involved. And Jon Fury was putting, no man alive, born from a man, born from a woman, can beat my son, and all this type of shit.
So I just pulled up this clip, and I'm just wondering why the hell he did this.
Look at him.
Look at him. He's like, what are you going to do?
Tops off Tommy. No, but he was pointing at Tyson. And you just saw Tyson, the smile stopped for a second, and you could just see the look in his eye. Because Jon Fury was trying to get the fight with Mike Tyson. And Jon Fury respects Mike Tyson because he called Tyson Fury.
He named his son after him.
Yeah. But he's just poking the bear because he wants to get that fight. And I'll tell you what, listen, Jon Fury, he's a maniac. I think he's excellent entertainment. But you know what? As a father, you got to respect him because he has his kids back. Listen, is he a madman? Yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. I think it's very, very entertaining and I enjoy that. But he gets so fired up because he's there at a Tommy Fury press conference. He's there at a Tyson Fury press conference. And that's his kids. That's his kids. And then like that animalistic nature, that defensive father kind of feelings come out of him. And you know, listen, you think what you want of it. Maybe some people might think it's cringe. Tyson doesn't. He didn't give a fuck. Tommy Fury didn't give a shit. My wife was like, Rebecca was like, oh, I'd be so embarrassed. I'm like, no, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, let him go. But it's bringing more entertainment and eyes to the fight, because some people tune in just to see what Jon Fury's going to do. Like that was my that's what I wondered. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't wait to go watch it now.
Well, it was pretty uneventful. I mean, to be honest, Tyson Fury, I got to say this as well. He hardly spoke up until right near like the last 10 minutes or so. He just sat there with a very smug look on his face. Not smug, that sounds like an insult, but a self-assured grin on his face because he knows. And it's always like, you know, the most dangerous man in the room is often the quietest, you know, and he doesn't need to talk. He didn't need to yap or anything like that. Granted, the last few minutes he did, you know what I mean? He started talking a bit of shit. He got out of his seat. He was pointing. He's like, I'm going to knock you spark out, blah, 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 blah. But for the first 20, 30 minutes, he was just sitting there with a grin on his face as if to say, I don't need to embarrass myself. I don't need to talk shit. Of course, they're all being on the best behavior. They're in Saudi Arabia. They're all getting paid a ton of money, you know. So, but what are your thoughts on the fight? Because it goes down in 2 days.
Did you see the sit down between him and Francis?
Not all of it. I saw like little bits online. Go on, give it to me.
He has a pretty. It's evident that he's very aware how dangerous Francis is. And he's very respectful of Francis, which I thought was really cool to see. He could have very easily taken this professional boxer route that everyone takes and just shit all over the MMA fighter. I thought it was very cool that he kind of raised Francis up a little bit and said, this man has got a dream. Look at what he's came from. He's dangerous. And I normally only do 6-week training camps. I did a 12-week training camp for him because the style is going to be different. He just gave a couple insights into, how serious he takes Francis as a threat, which I thought was pretty cool. He also said,
just on that, before you move on, let me just respond to that because otherwise I'll forget. Often that's what fighters do though, right? Because they want to sell the fight. And I'm not saying he's doing that, but I think Ronda Rousey used to do that back in the day. You know what I mean? You want to make his challenge.
She's the most dangerous girl in the world.
I mean, that's working shit she does after a win. That's wild. That's dangerous. No, but you want to do that. You want to hype up your opponent, A, because you're going to sell the fight, and B,
smart guys do.
Smart guys. But go ahead. Sorry.
And I thought about that too. It just seemed very real. You know what I mean? You can tell kind of when Tyson's selling and when he's just being genuine, and it seemed like he was being genuine. He also told Francis that he was going to walk him down and fight him in a phone booth. And I just feel like that's not going to happen. Because he asked Francis, do you think that I'm just going to pump the jab and run from you? And I thought Francis actually did really well for himself on there too, because he kind of looked around and went, possible.
I saw Tyson say he called the combination jab, double jab, maybe a triple jab, uppercut. That's it. Spark out, done. Yeah. You know what I mean? To his face. That was the only
that was the only real part where they kind of went back and forth. It was really respectful. Francis was like, I don't believe anything that he says. But Tyson was like, I told you guys that I was going to do this, this, and this to Deontay Wilder, and I did. And I'm going to do this exact same thing to you. And I'm like, that sounds like it's going to be a good fight if he does that.
I'll say this about Tyson Fury. There's a man that you can't deny what he's capable of. Because number one, when he got knocked down against Deontay Wilder, was it twice? I think he got knocked down and it looked like he was done, looked like he was out. And then he gets up and then he wins the next round. Then have you ever seen, I think it's a little YouTube video or a reel on Facebook, and they put down some emotional music to it. And it talks about Tyson Fury when he was going through depression and he was getting involved in all kinds of drugs and drinking and partying. And he ballooned up to 400 pounds and he was suicidal. And he thought to himself, that I want to die. He was going through a lot of depression. He was in the toilet. He's got millions of dollars. He said he was going out. He was hanging out with a bunch of young kids, all the rest of it. And he said he went to a Halloween party. And he was there, and he's dressed up like a dickhead. And he said he looked around, and there was a bunch of kids in there. And he just thought to himself, what am I doing? What am I doing here with these people half my age? I've got a family at home. I've got a wife that I love. I've got children. I've got money in the fucking bank. I'm Tyson Fury, for fuck's sake, heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm here. And he said he went home, and that was when he turned it around. And he tried to go for a run the next day, and he thought, I'll do 2 or 3 miles. And he could only go 100 yards. You know what I mean? But then the next day he went again, and he went 200 yards and so on and so forth. And then he came back, and was it Deontay Wilder? Was that his comeback fight, regardless of whoever it was? He came back, becomes the champion again, and goes through all this. A man that's been through that kind of journey, you know what I mean? That's a man that is mentally strong, a man that is very, very smart, and just has an iron will.
And I think that Francis Ngannou is very aware of that. And so he didn't really play the game. He just I'm here because I have to be. Here's what I'm prepared to do. I'm very aware of the challenges. I don't know. Maybe some people wouldn't like it because there wasn't a lot of shit talk. There wasn't a lot of bullshit. There wasn't the back and forth name calling and I'm going to do this. It was a very mature kind of sit down, and I really enjoyed it. I thought these are two high level professionals that are very clearly going to beat the shit out of each other, but they don't have any real issue with each other, and I enjoyed it.
You don't need the pantomime theatrics when it's somebody like a Tyson Fury. And certainly, listen, Francis Ngannou is a very formidable man. You know, I used to joke about it when Lewis was on the podcast. I think we spoke about it a few times. I think a question was, who's the last person you'd want on the UFC roster to like go crazy in a bar? And I made a joke about it, saying like, fucking hell, if Francis Ngannou came into a pub that I was in, wasted drunk, and just started swinging for the fences, knocking people out, I'm running out the fire exit in a heartbeat. Do you know that? Do you know what I mean? And you got to remember that. He's a very serious man. And on the flip side, I just spoke about Tyson. When you look at Francis, you know, I think it was the sand mines or the diamond mines, whatever it was. He was working down the mines. He comes from next to nothing, lived in, for want of a better word, close to what you might describe as a hut, if you will. Do you know what I mean? Very, very, very humble accommodation. You know, he leaves there with a dream. He becomes homeless. He's living on the streets of Paris, joins an MMA gym, goes to America, becomes the UFC champion of the world. And now he's fighting Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia.
That's a movie.
Look at that journey. Do you know? And if that man can do that and we've all seen the pictures of Francis, all young and a bit skinnier with a shovel in his hand, digging. If he can go from there to where he is now, then it's possible that he can go through Tyson Fury as well.
It is. It's 100%. And I don't know that Francis talks about it in depth, but I've heard stories from people that are close with Francis, and I'm not going to divulge his story, but the journey from where he was working in the mines to even getting to Paris, living in Paris as a homeless person on the streets was an upgrade from what it took to get there. Like he upgraded to being homeless in Paris, which is crazy.
Can you think what it's like? And now I've never been to those countries in Africa.
Yeah, me either.
But I've seen enough TV.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look good. It looks lawless. It looks desperate. It looks like you're going to be very thirsty. That's for damn sure. Granted, they're not in the Sahara Desert, but I've heard stories and watched videos about people emigrating from countries in Africa and trying to get to Europe and the hardships that they go through. I mean, you there's a very good chance of you dying.
Yeah, you might not live.
You might not live. You might not live to tell the tale. And sadly, we see that all the time. And there's people coming to.
But he got to Paris and was like, "Oh, thank God I can sleep on these streets." That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
There's a tap over there with running water. Do you know what I mean? Like there's
It's insane.
It is. All right, Manscaped is back. They're sponsoring the episode and they are selling beard products. They have gone from the waist to the face to help you replace the bulky razor with a brand new Beard Hedger Pro kit. As we know, Manscaped, they make the best tools to turn heads with a clean, perfectly groomed and conditioned beard. And now you can get 20% off when you go to manscaped.com and use the code BISPING20 for 20% off and free shipping. The Beard Hedger Pro kit will change your life. It has made it easier than ever to craft your signature look. Okay, this thing's ridiculous. It's waterproof. It's got a cordless trimmer. It's got a rotary wheel that gives you up to 20 different lengths, all in one guard, so no add-ons and like clipping things all over the place. With 20 lengths, it's easier to craft your signature look. It has a titanium coated T-blade, which is tough on the hair, smooth on your face. But the Beard Hedger Pro kit is much more than a trimmer. It comes with 4 dermatologist tested formulations for your post-trim care. It has the beard shampoo and conditioner. It has the beard oil. The nutrient-infused oil relieves dryness both on the beard and beneath the skin. And you can cap it off with the beard balm, a pomade that shapes, styles, and moisturizes, bringing the amazing scent of fresh eucalyptus, rosemary, and lavender essential oils. Oh, by the way, it also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, a comb, and scissors. Listen, if you've got a beard, this is everything that you need, and we're giving it to you at 20% off. And as I said, the quality of Manscaped products, it's second to none. It will last you a long time. So go to manscaped.com, use the code BISPING20. You're going to get 20% off and free shipping. One more time, manscaped.com. The code is BISPING20 for 20% off and free shipping. So let me ask you this. I've got a question for you.
Okay.
I'm very intrigued to know your answer. And I guess, so I did an interview yesterday about this fight. And the interviewer asked me a question. And I had to think about it. And I wasn't sure. And I want to know your question. The interviewer said, do you think that Francis Ngannou truly believes that he can win this fight. Because the reality is, yes, of course, you take the opportunity. He's a big, strong, formidable man. He was a UFC fighter, but he's never had a boxing fight, and he's going up against the best heavyweight boxer of the generation, undefeated, a man with a better pedigree, better technique, better skills, quicker, all the rest of it. We could go on all day with the categories, and he's going to get paid a ridiculous amount of money, and it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah.
But do you believe, Anthony, that Francis deep down believes he can win this fight? And by the way, and now shut up.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, I don't know.
I think that he knows that it's an uphill battle and that it's a slim chance. But I also I think he believes in himself so much, he knows that there is a path. I don't know what percentage he would give himself. I definitely believe he thinks that there is a path to victory. I know he knows it's possible. I also think that he's a realist and knows he's taking a big chance here, and that the window for opportunities is going to be very small.
It reminds me of a movie quote. I'm going to throw it to you.
Uh-oh.
What do you think the chances are of a guy like me and a girl like you?
Dumb and Dumber.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Telling me there's a chance.
What was it? What, like it 1 in 100 or 1 in a million?
It's like 1 in a million.
1 in 100. Go on, Harrington. Go on.
Yeah, he's like, what are the chances? 1 in 100? She goes, more like 1 in a million.
He goes,
so you're
telling me
there's a chance. Hey, but listen, that kind of optimism, but still, that's all you need. That's all you need. Because if you, again, and I'm not hyping up Francis, but this is just the reality, because, you know, people that have been through that kind of hardship, all they need is that one little glimmer of hope. If you're in a room of darkness and there's that one little bit of light cracking in, there's your way. That's the way out. That's how you get out of this. Do you know what I mean? And that's all you need. And he's it's two human beings at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like I've personally been in a couple of those situations where, like, even when I was fighting Gus, it's the one that I can remember the clearest. Obviously, I knew that Jon was an uphill battle and that was going to be tough. But I thought if I could make it ugly and dirty, I could get in there. And I didn't. Whatever. He wins. Whatever. But then when I went to fight Gustafsson in Sweden 8 weeks later, in my head I was like, this guy's really good. Like he's almost a worse matchup for me than Jon. And he might knock me out. But I knew that if I could just pressure him, I knew my chance. That was my chance. If I could just get in and I ended up on the ground or I ended up in tight, I could get there. But I wasn't sure that I could beat him. I didn't. If you would have asked me then, I would have said, oh yeah, of course I can. But in my head, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. That's it. Maybe. I feel like that's how Francis is. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. Can I? Yeah. If it goes right.
And it's everything to gain with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And that, again, makes you dangerous.
It makes you dangerous. That's a great spot to be in. If you got nothing to lose, sometimes you get people, I think, not to ramble, but sometimes you get people who are like, well, I got nothing to lose. I'm getting a big check. Fuck it. I'm just going to go in there. If it doesn't go my way, then I'm just out. But
yeah, which let me just jump in there.
Go ahead.
And it'll take me 5 seconds.
You're good.
Which was, and we saw how it panned out. That was my mindset when I took the Gastelum fight. Because I knew I was retired. I just hadn't made it official yet. You know what I mean? That was that. But this is different.
Right. And then sometimes you have situations where you feel like you have nothing to lose, and it makes you more dangerous than you were before, which is kind of me with Gus. I just lost to Jon. I just made a shit ton of money. Most people lose their next fight after Jon anyways. It's kind of that Jon Jones effect. So if I lost, fuck it, I'm like everybody else. I didn't need the money, so I didn't need the win. I just wanted to perform, and I wanted to I didn't have anything to lose. I could just go out and I was playing with house money. It didn't matter. So it made me more dangerous because I didn't care.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you know, like you were ready to retire. You were, you know, it was the end of the road.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people have a similar mindset to that. So it depends on where Francis is at. I feel like he's playing with house money.
Yeah. Like for me, just to elaborate for 5 seconds, it was like, well, listen, I knew I was retired. It's another payday. I went to win. I didn't go to fucking roll over. I thought, fuck it, who cares? Whatever. I'll go. I'll give it another shot. I reckon I can do it. I did it. Who gives a fuck? I'm retired anyway. You know? So with that said, let's give the predictions because it is happening on Saturday. I think Tyson Fury is going to put a show on. I think he's going to try and carry the fight. You know, he's going to try and carry Ngannou a little bit. The people of Saudi Arabia, they've spent a lot of money here, you know, and they don't want Tyson to go out and finish him in round one. I don't know if he can finish him in round one, but even if hypothetically he could, I don't think he'd want to do that. And kind of like we saw with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, right? He did. Listen, Conor was dangerous in round one when he landed that uppercut, but for the most part, he did. He kind of carried him along a little bit. Regardless, make of that what you will. It's true. I think Tyson's going to have that kind of same approach. I think he feels that he's so many levels above that he can do that he can play with him, that he can toy with him a little bit and then take him out in the later rounds, 6, 7, 8, whatever. The problem is with that strategy as well, though, is that the whole time Francis is there, he's got more chance to land that big shot. However, I do think Tyson Fury finishes the fight and he will be declared the winner via knockout.
Yeah, I think that the end result, I believe, is going to be the same. I think that he's going to chip away at him. I don't know that Francis is the type of guy that you want to just go in and try to mow over. And maybe that is some of he's going to have to carry him a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to be necessarily by choice. I think that the safest bet is to stick him with the jab from far away, move around, don't stand in front of him, attack his body. Francis has been known to get tired. We've seen him in there with Stipe one time. He might have been the most tired human on planet Earth at that given time. And I think that Tyson is probably going to watch that and know that he has the ability to get that tired. Attack the body, lots of body shots, lots of movement, probably clinch him and weigh on him a bunch. And then later on, I think he will keep to his word and he will walk Francis down, I would imagine, when he's too tired to do anything about it.
Final word on that one before we move on. Yeah, I saw some of the footage of the open workouts yesterday. I'm not sure if you saw that.
A little bit.
The speed difference is vast.
Francis is not that fast.
He's not, and I'm not trying to shit on the guy.
It's just
as we see it.
It's what you see.
Tyson is ridiculously fast. For a man that has that body shape, you just wouldn't think it. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, I love Tyson Fury. I love everything about him, but he sometimes looks like a melting ice cream cone. And
he does.
But moves.
His dad might have looked better with his shirt off.
But
his dad might have looked better.
An athlete. He's incredibly conditioned. He never gets tired. He moves so well. He's fast. It's crazy that his athletic ability is in that body. But I mean, that's peak performance, and
you know what
he doesn't seem to care.
Oh yeah, we've all seen the memes, haven't we? You know, like you have the ripped guy and then the fat guy, and they're like, you know, which guy would you pick to be? I forget what the meme was. I will say this though, well done to both men. Massive respect to both men. They both have very, very inspirational journeys. I know Tyson Fury gets a little bit of kickback these days from the boxing community, for this fight even happening, for maybe not taking some of the harder fights, the Anthony Joshua and the Usyk, but apparently that's happening. At the end of the day, we're all on our own individual paths and journeys. And whatever's best for the individual, then that's what you do. Fuck the rest of the world. If you're out there right now listening to this and you think that you're feeling pressured to go down a certain path and that's not right for you and you're doing it to please other people, fuck those other people. You got to do what's right for you. You get one life. It's not their life, it's your life. Tyson's doing what's best for him and his family. Francis Ngannou's doing the same thing as well. They've both had incredible journeys and they've led them to this moment. Best of luck to both men and big respect to both men.
Yeah, huge respect and congratulations on just the financial success that both of those guys. I mean, it's life-changing money for Francis. Tyson's already got it, but you know what? By all means, keep piling it on top. And, you know, just really happy for Francis in terms of just his earning ability here. And when I see him, you just want to big fucking high five. Like, go get you some.
All right, so we got a few more. Well, we got a lot more stuff to talk about, but right now let's have a little bit of mixed martial arts relief brought to us by Mike Harrington. Hi, Mike. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mike and Anthony. I'm glad to be here to bring you relief from MMA.
We don't need relief. We fucking love MMA. It's a MMA show, by the way.
And from now on, don't come back on like that. So fucking happy.
All right,
Yes,
I need you to. I don't want you to enjoy being here.
I hate it here. It stinks.
Just get on with it.
All right. So Drake had a birthday party over the weekend. Check it out, right? Obviously, there's celebrities galore who are going to be at Drake's birthday party. One place you wouldn't expect to find them is behind the bar. He got the Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad to promo their new Dos Hombres tequila mezcal. As part of a part of the birthday celebration.
Okay, so I seen this video, but I don't know who those guys are.
Whoa. Hold on. Breaking Bad.
I never watched it.
You've never seen Breaking Bad?
Never.
You're a very lucky man because you get to watch it for the first time in your life at some point.
Is it that good?
Incredible, dude.
It's I mean, listen, there's a few Sopranos, Breaking Bad, there's a few, but it's up Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, but it's up there. Breaking Bad might be the one.
I started watching it the last season, and I went to my buddy's house, and he was like, "Oh, you ever start watching Breaking Bad? We can put on the pilot episode." So we sat there and we watched the first episode, and I literally could not wait to watch the rest of the series. Like I was like, and then what happens? And then what happens?
Anthony, you can binge watch this from start to finish. I'm telling you.
How many seasons are there?
7 or something like that.
Oh, I could do that.
6 or 7 in a movie.
Me and my wife have talked about starting it because all of our friends say the same thing. You guys haven't watched Breaking Bad? Never.
Lucas watches it every day. He comes in from school and puts an episode on. He's obsessed with it. He comes back from training at the Den, and as he's having his dinner, puts an episode of Breaking Bad on. He is obsessed. He also loves Better Call Saul as well, the spin-off show, which I wasn't too crazy about. But dude, you got to start Breaking Bad.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to start it before we get on here Monday. That's a promise to the believers. Then we can talk about it.
Now let me tell you this. We're gonna go to the story in a second. Some people have said that it's a little slow to start. I disagree. Regardless, if you do have those freak emotions, stick with it, brother, because it's immense. It is gripping. It is suspenseful. Now, that aside,
on Monday.
That aside, Bryan Cranston, very well-known actor, and Aaron Paul, they're the 2 stars of it. So they got paid to go to Drake's birthday party and be barmen. I'm sorry.
You know how much money you got to have to pay other famous people to work for you?
So it says here that Community Notes is correcting that. They said that they weren't paid and it was done for advertising purposes.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that kind of killed my take then, because I thought Drake paid them and they're like, well, number one, how much money they must have made off Breaking Bad is insane. But secondly, listen, and money talks. Bullshit runs the marathon. But at a certain point, I'd have my pride and be like, fuck you, Drake. I'm not being your little fucking barmaid, bitch.
Yeah, no way. But I suppose if I was promoting my own brand, that's different. Probably a good place to do it, I would imagine. That's a lot of shoulders you can rub with some important people, I would guess.
How much? It's a stupid question because
have you ever bartended?
No. Have you?
One time I did a celebrity bartending event at a bar chain here in Nebraska for charity for kids. It's not like Paralympics there. It's like kids in wheelchairs that do sports. They can play basketball and soccer. And so it was like raising money for those kids. It was actually a lot of fun. I actually had probably because I wasn't doing it like for a job. It was like people only came because I was bartending. So I didn't know how to make any mixed drinks. So any mixed drink that came in, I just like gave it to someone else. Like, here, this is what I need. They taught me how to do it. But I could pour a beer like a motherfucker though.
You're rescuing dogs. You're doing
I've doing interviews all day.
events.
I was doing interviews today.
You're making me look bad. I'm starting a charity. That's it.
So remember last week I said, you doing all this stuff. And I said, I'm trying to get in heaven. Which is partially true. I'm trying to just fix all the other shit that I did when I was younger. And I got this really wholesome message on Instagram from a guy that's saying, that's not how you get in heaven. And like gave me a bunch of Bible verses and explained to me that you don't have to be a good person. You don't have to do nice things. You have to accept Jesus and he'll forget your sin. It was a very nice message is my point, but I am just trying to do nice things. I'm trying to get good karma too. Because I think when I was a young kid, I did so much stupid shit. And I don't feel like my career in fighting is fixing my karma. It's not doing any bad, but I'm not doing anything good for the world. It's not like my wife is a nurse. She stays home now, but she's a nurse. You take care of people, you help people, you know, like my mom was a nurse. My sister works in assisted living. Like everyone around me seems to be doing things that help other people. And I do the total opposite. I punch people in the face for money. So like, I understand what you're saying. In the world.
I understand completely what you're saying, but that's of course your perspective, you know, and I'm not saying this because I did the same thing. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm sure your children feel very differently about that. I'm sure people that look up to you and support you feel very differently about that. I'm sure people that you've inspired, as I say, and your wife and loved ones around you, I'm sure they feel very, very differently about that. So it's not a bad way to live your life though. And that's what I try and do. I mean, listen, I'm not a religious person, but I try and be a good person.
Trying to be a good person. That's it.
And
sometimes it's harder than it should be. That's what's crazy. Like sometimes it's real easy for me to be like, fuck that guy. And
to go to the dark side.
Yeah. Like, all right, pull it together.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the great thing as you get older, though, isn't it? You know, it changes the instincts, the reflex changes. Because when you're younger, you're more emotional. And I still get emotional now. I still be an emotional bastard at times. But generally, and Rebecca just walked in the room. She's over there. Maybe she'll disagree. But I used to go to DEFCON 5 straight away. Do you know what I mean? Boom. Hair trigger. Gone. Off the handle. Explode. Be a maniac. You know, not quite the same anymore, but I mean, you mentioned getting into heaven. Just whether or not you accept Jesus or not, just try and be a good person, regardless of what religion it is.
It's not like you said. It's not a bad way to live your life.
No. But that said, how much would someone have to pay you to be a barman? Because I'm looking for a barman, Anthony.
A lot.
Today's episode is sponsored by Prizepicks, which is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. And it is the easiest way to play. It's just you against the numbers. You just got to pick more or less than a regular stat. It's so easy. Look, this weekend, massive fight, Fury versus Ngannou. Is Francis Ngannou going to land 34.5 punches, more or less? That's all you got to pick, more or less. If you want to go with the Tyson Fury side, will he land 58.5 punches, more or less? Or if you want to go fight time, Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, will it be longer or shorter than 13.5 minutes? There's also bets on football that you can do. It is so easy. Even Mike Harrington could do it. So what more are you waiting for? Prizepicks is really simple to play. You make your picks and you submit the entry in less than 60 seconds. There is quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, as I said, and an enormous section of stats and players and bouts and football matches. You name it, they've got it. Prizepicks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So it's a lot of fun. It's easy to play and there's money to be earned. So go to prizepicks.com/believe. The code is believe and you will get a deposit match of up to $100. As I said, go to prizepicks.com/believe. The code is believe for a deposit match of up to $100. You know, when I saw that with Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston, it reminded me, I remember Ricky Gervais. You know Ricky Gervais, right?
The comedian?
Yeah, he's hilarious. Have you watched his specials on Netflix?
Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, I'm a big stand-up comedy guy.
Have you seen the last one, Supernature?
Yeah, I have.
God, so funny. Anyway, I heard him on Howard Stern once, and he revealed that, and I'm probably going to get the number wrong, but I seem to recall some wealthy, very wealthy financial people in China offered him $10 million. They were going to fly a private jet and $10 million, just go out there and do a quick stand-up set for all the partners, all the board and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And he turned it down. And Howard Stern was like, what are you doing that for? You know, I mean, $10 million, they were going to fly you on a private jet.
Right.
And he's like, well, number one, it's disgusting. He said that money can be used for so much better. And secondly, I'm not their little bitch. You know what I mean? And I just thought, fucking hell, it must be nice. And that, again, that's why I respect that man. I mean, he is hilarious, but that's some real good, strong principles there. But also having you money helps.
Yeah, having you money helps, and being able to turn down $10 million. Have you ever turned down like a pretty decent paying opportunity for principles or circumstance?
I'm trying to think. That's not a good start to the answer, is it? No, I'm just trying to think if I've ever been presented with an opportunity that kind of went against my principles.
Yeah. You have flat out rejected sponsors of this show because you don't believe in the product. And I don't know if you consider that substantial, but I would. For certain. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I wasn't necessarily thinking along those lines, but you're right, Harrington. I guess that does count.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's been a big.
I had a fight opportunity in between my UFC stints. There was a private event, not open to the public, in a place that I didn't want to go. I was like, nah, I can't. It was good money too. It was cash, US dollars. Cash.
Was it in another country?
Yeah.
Did it rhyme with Mechnia?
I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Oh, now I cracked the code.
Yeah. I was afraid to go.
Hey, talking of Chechnya real quick, and I'm not going to get into a whole political thing, and I'm not ripping on Ariel Helwani. And I wasn't going to mention this, but it just kind of came in my head there. I saw Helwani. There was a video doing the rounds the other day where he was talking about Khamzat Chimaev and his association. Is it Kadyrov? I think that's his name. Yeah. Kadyrov, thank you. And he's like, what's going on? What are we doing? How do we all feel about this? And like, as I said, I'm not talking shit and I'm not going to talk shit. In my mind, I understand all the extreme controversy that goes around that. But I think it's pretty simple, and maybe I'm wrong. But Khamzat Chimaev is Chechnyan. Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't know what his official title is, I'll say ruler of Chechnya.
I mean, whatever you want to call it, he runs it.
Do you think he has a choice? And do you know what I mean? He's Chechnyan, and that's the top dog right there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, I understand.
I don't get the vibe
that there's some murky waters to put it very.
Do you remember when Khamzat was so upset he retired online?
Yeah,
on social media. It wasn't long after that when Kadyrov was like, "No, you don't,
brother. Listen, you come out of retirement."
Yeah, I guess that's I guess that's that. Khamzat's still fighting.
Yeah. So just back off.
Well, I hate getting into that stuff. Like, it's his business. And I thought his message afterwards was beautiful. Like, after his fight, thought it was a beautiful,
I know,
crafted message.
I don't want to get into this whole thing. Apparently there was another message in his native tongue that involved grabbing guns and killing people or something, I think.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, next.
Yeah, he called upon the Arab world to go defend Gaza.
Yeah. That's where we're going to leave that.
That's where we're going to leave that.
Harrington, what did he also say?
I just thought it was kind of, he said, I'm not built to fight in shorts. I want to go fight for the Holy Land.
He does all right fighting in shorts, to be fair.
Yeah, he does pretty good there, too.
Did a pretty good job when he was fighting Usman. Segway champion of the year moment. Mm-hmm. Usman getting called out by one Robert the Reaper Whitaker. Yeah. Did you see that?
I like that fight.
I like it a lot. I think it makes a ton of sense. Robert Whitaker said, is he going to stay at middleweight? I don't know. That fight interests me. I like that fight. I'd fight a middleweight Usman. I don't think it's a bad fight to have. What are you going to do? Make Usman fight ranks 20 to 30 to get in the top tier? Of course, that doesn't make sense. Consecutive defending welterweight champion. He definitely deserves a fight at the top of the charts. I agree. How well will he do? We'll see. But seeing fresh blood at the top of the game, that's interesting. I like it. Seeing Chimaev and Strickland fighting, that moves things around. I like it. Make things interesting and exciting. I am here for it. I hope Usman stays. Stick around. It's fun up here, mate.
You know, that's coming from a former welterweight too. So it's not like they're that far apart. To be fair.
This is the thought that I had. Whitaker, former welterweight.
Yeah.
Usman, obviously, former welterweight.
Right.
Hamzat did a very good stint at welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Strickland, former welterweight. Yeah. Do you see the similarities?
Yeah. I think they're all right there. I hope Usman. I hope Kamaru stays at 185. I think it's probably easier, obviously, for his weight cut as he's gotten older. You know, the weight doesn't quite come off as easy as it used to. I think he looked. Hamzat's big. He's a really big middleweight. I thought size-wise, I thought he did fine. I thought physicality-wise, Hamzat's probably one of the more physically strong guys in their division. I thought he looked fine there. And it's a fresh coat of paint. You know, for whatever reason, he's had that issue with Leon, and that's just maybe that's his kryptonite, and that's the guy. But I think he's going to do really well at middleweight if he decides to stay there.
Well, and it just makes so much sense, certainly for Robert Whitaker and for Usman, because let's just say he accepts this fight, right? And I sign off on it. I think it's a great call out by Robert Whitaker. I think it's asking for a tough matchup. It's a big name. It does them both good. Whitaker is a legend of the sport. I mean, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame. You would think so. What he's done for Australian MMA, representing it at the absolute highest level, for sure. Usman, the same thing. Usman, it gives him a chance to fight a top middleweight on a full training camp. And let's see how that goes. You know, and for Whitaker, he can beat a legend like Usman and get back in the winning column so he can be inserted into title fight discussions, because right now, coming off a loss, he's not. And for Usman, again, same thing. You beat a top middleweight, you beat Robert Whitaker, you're in that. You're in the top 5, you're in the discussions.
Right. It puts him right in a great position, because, I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting that Hamzat is going to beat Sean Strickland. At least that's the over. I think it's harder than that. I think it's more complicated than that. But I think that overall, that's the overreaching idea is that he beats Strickland. Well, he obviously can hang with the top dude in the world if that's the case. I think it all makes sense.
It does. I was in the PI yesterday and had a little training session doing a bit of jiu-jitsu with Alan Joban, and I saw Sean Strickland. Strickland was there with a little group of wrestlers working on his wrestling, and I wonder why. Yeah, because Hamzat Chimaev is probably round the corner. If you had to put a timeline on that, what would be your guess?
I don't know.
And by the way, I had a nice conversation with Sean. Congratulated him. I mean, what he achieved, the way he beat Israel Adesanya. Unreal, man. Unbelievable.
He's a decent guy when you're talking to him in private.
Yeah. I mean,
good conversation.
I said that to Sean because, you know, we've known each other for years. And sometimes we've been a little bit like that. We've gone at each other. And I said that to him. I said, I know we've been like that over the years a little bit. And he's like, no, don't be silly. Well, a little bit we have in the training room. I mean, you know, we might have not had big arguments, but, you know, might have fucking had like the odd word here and there. I said, hey, Sean, massive respect for what you did. Congratulations. You went out there, you beat Israel Adesanya. Unbelievable, man. Just incredible. You know, so it was a nice moment, shook his hands. But when do you think him and Hamzat, what would be your guess?
What are we here at? We're here in October. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to throw that on like March or April.
I'm trying to think of the fights. Well, April's UFC 300.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to think they were going to stack that. You know, it'd be incredible if they did like
Sean's the bloody American poster boy right now.
Right.
You got to have an American poster boy.
What if they did like, they could probably do like 3 or 4 title fights.
We're gonna have Conor McGregor.
Yeah, so you got Conor. Well, that's going to be tough if Conor's going to be UFC 300. He's going to have to main event it. Are they going to have Conor main event it over 2 title fights? I don't see that happening.
I don't know. There's a very good chance. I'm just looking at the champions right now. Okay, because I was wondering, and this is not an insult to Americans. I was like, is Sean the only American champion? Of course he's not. So you got Jon Jones, of course, heavyweight champ. Sean O'Malley, bantamweight. Sean Strickland, Jamal Hill, still technically the champ until that fight starts, Jamal Hill. And then, so, I mean, the States are doing incredible, actually. For a moment there, I thought Sean was the only American champion, but Jamal, Sean, John, and O'Malley. So 4. It's good.
Yeah.
But, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Conor versus Chandler. Sean versus Hamzat.
Just maybe Jon Jones gets back early and it's Jon Jones Stipe.
That's going to be International Fight Week. Look at again, going back to Jon, though. Think about this: 3 years away from the sport, comes back as 1 fight, and then this happens.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks because he's finally on that contract, on a massive contract.
The one he wanted.
The one he wanted. We don't know the specifications, but it's a lot of money per fight.
Well, the fact that he signed it says it was a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the rumors are 6 million flat plus pay-per-view, and those pay-per-view points will be pretty good points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Stipe do pretty good numbers.
Yeah, they're not going to. No, but I'm saying they won't be the standard points.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, his tiers are higher.
yeah. His points will be a little bit bigger than your regular point.
Yeah.
But still, we did mention just their champions, one champion. We're talking about pound for pounds in Jon Jones. Islam Makhachev. DC is making the news right now. On his show, DC and RC, he said that Islam Makhachev should fight Conor McGregor. Let's see if I've got the exact quote here. He said, I think Islam should fight Conor next. It's the biggest money fight the UFC can make, and why not? You have Islam Makhachev, who looks to be a guy who's going to be a dominant champion. In order to have that dominant champion go to the next level of superstardom, you need a foil. You need a guy that can elevate him. A guy that can elevate him to that level is Conor McGregor. Look at what beating Conor did for Dustin Poirier. Look at what it did for Khabib. We're not talking about all the other levels at which it just makes sense. You have Islam fighting Conor after the issues Conor had with Khabib, but everything else. You have Islam fighting Conor, the biggest star in mixed martial arts. Conor coming back to the UFC, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be that DC's an AKA guy and so is Islam, right?
No.
That couldn't be it, could it?
What? And Javier Mendez gets 10%?
It couldn't be it.
No,
couldn't be it. Listen, respect to DC for always looking out for his guys. I would do the same if I had the opportunity. I'm always gonna big up my teammates. I come on here and talk about my teammates all the time. So, I think you can make any fight with Conor with anybody makes sense. That's kind of an easy plug and play. You can put Conor anywhere and make it make sense. I think that Islam is he's on his way to having 4 fights with only 2 people. Like it's rematch after rematch. Like let's keep on rolling through some of these new contenders. And I feel like the division, it's like you always throw Conor in and it fucks everything else up. Like in terms of like the traditional number 1 contender fights for the title, champion defends, then it's the next contender. And I don't feel like we've had like this easy roll through the lightweight division in a little while, because every once in a while you sprinkle in a little Conor and fuck it up, you know? So
yeah, but
I'd like to see the Oliveira fight. And this is me personally, I want to see Oliveira rematch because that sounds like what's going to happen. I'd like to see Gaethje get an opportunity. And God damn it, can we just stop trying to steer Michael Chandler away from Conor? Like,
why, who's doing that?
Well, it's just always like Conor should fight this person or Conor should do this.
Oh,
or
no,
Conor
for
should
sure.
do that. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
God damn, Michael
DC.
Chandler's been promised this fight forever.
That fight's happening. I mean, I don't know
so.
it. I'm not close to the situation. I don't know any.
Sounds like it is. Yeah, I mean, Dana says it is.
I would be blown away if that fight doesn't materialize. Number one, Chandler deserves it. Sometimes that's not enough, but I think Conor has to have it. And strap yourselves in. If Conor beats Chandler, he's getting the Islam fight anyway. So regardless of what DC says, if Conor wins, and that's a big if Conor wins, that's going to happen. And
when he's coming off a couple losses too. So he's got to get a win and then it makes sense.
Talk all the shit you want in the world, right? That's how the world goes round. Simple as that. If Conor wins a fight against Michael Chandler, that will be a very credible win. He'll fight Islam next, so that will be a reality. You mentioned Justin Gaethje there. I don't know what the exact quote was, but he said he's not fighting again. He refuses another fight unless it's a title fight. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
He did say that, I believe. He did.
If you were gonna match him up with anyone else, like who would you have him fight?
I mean, who is there? Realistically, I mean, let's have a look.
He's right there.
Oliveira, right? Islam said they should fight each other. I want to see Islam fight one of them. Dustin Poirier just beat Beneil Dariush. I mean, there's a Dariush fight, but Dariush just got beat up Oliveira.
Yeah. It'd have to be a number one contender fight, right?
It's Fiziev. I mean, what's he going to do? Go fight Rujian, Dan Hooker? He's right. But the problem is it's either Oliveira or Gaethje. And Dana said they want to do the Oliveira fight. So for Gaethje, it's sounding like he's just going to sit tight, wait, bide his time. And I don't blame him. I think Justin Gaethje he's earned that right. He has. He's been at the top level for so long, swimming in the deep waters, doing great. Other than Khabib and Charles Oliveira, he's passed every test. Smoked Dustin Poirier with flying colors.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for having that stance. I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. And there's no rush. He's right there in the mix.
Yeah.
Let it kind of shake out and see what happens. The only thing that would throw a wrench and all that stuff is if it takes a long time, he's kind of hanging out in the wings, and then, Michael Chandler takes a loss to Conor, and then they slide Conor in. That's going to suck.
So let me ask you this. We all have moments where our partners annoy us. Mine's beavering away in the background right now, typing away on the keyboard.
Beavering
away right now. At what point do you put yourself into isolation and say, I can't take this anymore?
I try it every day. She just keeps opening the door.
At what point do you put a padlock on the door?
I don't know. We're almost there.
If you were to put a padlock on the door, the proverbial padlock, how long would that padlock be on for? Like, what if you just said, women, I can't take women anymore. I cannot take women anymore. How long do you think you could keep that up for?
I don't know. Till
be a long time. That's right, a short time. Wouldn't be that long.
Till I'm hungry.
Yeah. Spoken like a sexist pig, bro.
Yeah, right.
Listen, women are equal.
It's funny I say that.
We can. Women
it's
can
funny I say that. I do all the cooking. See, for the most part. Yeah, mostly.
Women can lift weights.
Yeah.
Women can knock out 300-pound males that lift a lot of weights and do steroids.
Of course.
They can fly airplanes.
Of course.
They can cook bloody great food and make a decent sandwich. Harrington, elaborate, please, as to what I'm talking about here, because this is wild. I haven't looked into this. I sent this to the chat. I haven't looked into it, so I'm listening just as much as you.
Yeah. So a man from Rwanda, he has an intense fear of women.
Shout out the Rwanda Massive. We have a few listeners there, apparently. So Rwanda, big up. Go on, carry on.
It is believed he suffers from a condition called gynophobia, an irrational fear of women. He built a 15-foot fence around his house, and he relies on his neighbors to provide him with food and groceries. And anytime a woman approaches his compound, runs back to the house, just books it.
These are
how long?
Girls.
55 years.
It's 55 years. He locked himself away from women because he's terrified of them for 55 years.
Well, he's locked himself away from everyone. He hasn't left the compound in 55 years, but the men in the village can come and bring him supplies.
That's called severe mental illness, or
That's
maybe
crazy.
The smartest motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
Brian,
he might be a genius.
Brian put a funny comment.
I'm not going to say that on YouTube.
He said it sounds a little gay.
I bet he's happy though. He could just drink beer whenever he wanted.
I don't know, man. That sounds boring.
He could just lay in bed. No one in 55 years, no one's yelled at him. No one's told him he's a fucking idiot in 55 years.
I don't want to get into a whole women are great routine. They are, I mean, having a partner in life to go through is awesome.
Great. Yeah, that's great.
But what is he doing? 55 bloody years. You think someone would reach out and be like, right, okay, listen, John, we're going to
clearly never been with one. It's not that bad,
have a chat,
bro. It's not that bad.
I know in Hollywood movies, it looks like women are going to dominate the world and they're going to take over everything. They're going to beat you up and men are pathetic losers. I don't know if you've noticed this theme. In new movies, men are pathetic, men are losers, men are stupid, men are fools, clumsy, walk into walls. It sounds like me, to be fair. You know what I mean? That is the depiction of men, and women are just the heroes.
Yeah.
So in the reality, it's not like that. There's good and bad on both sides. You'll be okay. You think someone would say, bro, John, 55 years?
It's a long time.
Do you want to just try it? Do you want to come up a little fortress that you've built there?
Yeah. Just open the door. Let her come in for 5 minutes. Nothing's going to set to flames.
Rebecca, a man locks himself away for 55 years for fear of women. What do you think? Come over here real quick. Come on, no, I want to hear her take. Come over here. All right. Then.
All right. Fine.
She's busy beavering away.
Beavering away.
Are you buying antiques?
I'm arranging collection and delivery events.
She's arranging collection and delivery of antiques. Yeah, I knew it. Bloody knew it. It's a tough life.
It is.
God. Harrington, Brian, you'll have a good take on this. What do you think? Locking away for 55 years. Smart, genius, insane, crazy.
It's borderline personality disorder, probably. I'm not a professional. I can't diagnose people, but
how many years you got in, Brian?
Be alone. Well, I try to leave my house as much as I can these days because I was losing it myself, Hey,
and
I have
social
connections to the outside.
I know, it's crazy.
Talking of which, Thursday, fight week, UFC 295, we've got the Meta Studios for an episode of the Believe You Me podcast. Facebook Studios, New York.
Zuckerberg's hooking us up.
Zuckerberg's.
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
yeah.
We're going to leave that place cyborg clones.
I hope so.
Replace.
Got to give a shout out to Paradigm Sports Management, Audiatar. Brian, jump back on. I want a little chit chat. People like you.
Hey.
We've got to give a shout out to Audi and his crew for making that happen. They said they reached out and they were like, yeah, we can go use the studio. So I'm just guessing. I don't know. I think it'll be a pretty nice studio.
Probably. You think they'll let us bring beer?
Yes.
Okay.
AI all over the place.
Probably.
Brian,
Yes,
what's
sir.
going on with you, bud? How's life with you? What's going on in Conspiracy Corner these days?
Oh man. Well, the big one that I like to talk about on Twitter sometimes is not okay for YouTube. It has to do with an A word and babies.
What's an A word?
Oh, we'll tell you afterwards. We talked about this before. You can't even say the word on YouTube. We're gonna get demonetized.
Does it start with A-N?
It does. Oh, A-D.
A dick? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't know
whatever. I don't want to anything to do with babies. I don't want to hear a conspiracy about babies.
No,
Give us
it's
another
bad.
one though. You've got something. I mean, what's going on in the political climate right now? I mean, obviously there's shit is hitting the fan. How close to World War III do you think we are, Brian?
Oh, dude, we just moved a carrier group into the Middle East oceans over there. It's really bad.
Is that the Mediterranean?
Yeah, if anybody remembers the USS Liberty, I think we're in for another situation like that, maybe with the same exact people.
The
involved.
USS Liberty was attacked by Israel, correct? Accidentally?
Yes. Let's say accidentally.
I love the way you answered
the
that.
story was it was accidental, correct?
Yeah, I mean, since then.
Look at me, I know what I'm talking about.
Things have definitely
I'm
come out
surprised.
since then that that tell you that it was less accidental than people would originally like to have you think. But yeah, I mean, us moving a big carrier group into the conflict zone is a good way to get something big blown up and get us into.
Well, China are sending a few over as well, aren't they?
Yes, they are. It seems like everybody's trying to get Jesus to come back these days.
My God, China
Now the
sending
guns and ammo
warships to
prices
States.
are going to go through the roof.
Oh, stock prices on all the weapon manufacturers, they are blowing up right now. And guess who's buying? Did we talk about this? Members of Congress have just bought loads of stock.
Oh, that's weird.
Northrop Grumman.
Isn't that crazy?
That's weird. What a coincidence.
Wow. They knew.
It's
They
almost
just bought
like
loads of stock.
it's almost like they're financially incentivized to drop us into a war. Weird.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. You know this, but I'm just going to say this surface level knowledge. You would think there would be a law in place to stop members of Congress and politicians buying stocks in that kind of area.
Well, they're trying to make that happen
I think
now.
if you benefit from any type of war or conflict that the U.S. is in and you're a politician, I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that.
You should have to go fight.
I feel like my birthplace is going to be a hotbed of action.
Yeah,
I'm born
probably.
in Cyprus. No, Cyprus.
Oh,
You know where Cyprus is?
It's in Greece, right? It's off. It's
No,
off.
Cyprus. If you look at the map, bring up a map of the Mediterranean Ocean. Go right by Israel and Turkey.
Oh boy,
That's where you were born?
There's a tiny little island there. Yeah, that's where I was born. I was born in Cyprus, Nicosia, little village there.
Wow.
Yeah,
You,
because
see,
there's
look, learning
There's an
stuff
army
every day.
base. There it is, right by Syria and Lebanon.
I'm surprised you're already not getting blown up. To be completely honest,
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, there's a British army base there. My dad was in the army, of course, and that's why I was born there. Which back in the day, when you said he's not even English, he was born in Cyprus. He's Cypriot. No, I'm not. That's like saying Brian Stan is Japanese.
Yeah, that's true.
Brian Stan was born in Japan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Brian Stan look Japanese?
whatever you
Not
want
much.
these days, boys.
Does he identify as Japanese?
You know what?
he-
Brian Stan is like the nicest human I've ever met. We've talked about this before. I just have to say it again. I feel like the biggest piece of shit when I'm in his presence.
Oh, we did. You
Like-
did say that.
Yeah, like I'm not a good enough person to even talk to this guy.
You're not a good enough person to talk to me.
True.
Said no one ever. Jeez Louise. Anyway, all right. So let's have a look. We've probably got another story or two that we didn't get to. 295, Jones out, Tom in, Sergei in. That's a shame. And of course, with
Let's see here.
Stipe as well. Dan Henderson revealing some behind the scenes stories about Sean Strickland, saying that he had to kick Sean out of the gym.
Was that recent? Or was that a long
It
time
can't
ago?
have been because Sean used to train there years ago. So
Yeah, it was a while ago, right?
Yeah, he said Dan Henderson, he was being too disrespectful to his sparring partners. Sean likes to spar and he likes to spar hard. Listen,
Yeah, he likes to fight.
you wanna get somewhere, you gotta spar, you gotta fight the bad with the good. Yes, Harrington.
It wasn't even about how hard he was going. Henderson said he liked that. He said he was talking too much shit to guys while he was sparring them, and it was just demoralizing for the fighters in the gym.
Well, to quote, what's she called? I forget her name. She's like the political commentator. She's a black lady. Candice Owens.
Candace Owens.
Life's tough. Get a helmet.
Life's tough. Get a helmet.
Life's tough. Get a helmet. You're going to get kicked in the fucking head. A few words from Sean, having a laugh, having a bit of banter, having a bit of banter while you're sparring. Yeah, maybe this sport isn't for you.
Yeah, probably.
Kick him out your gym, Dan. All right, guys, today's episode is sponsored by Kudo. Listen, you've probably seen them sponsoring the UFC. Kudo is delicious. I was very happy. They sent me some at my house. Let me tell you, these things are delicious. And they're also keto friendly. That is correct. There is 10 grams of whey protein isolate in every bag, and they still taste absolutely delicious. Yes, 10 whole grams of protein in every bag. Get in on the snacking revolution. Michael Chandler, Robbie Lawler, Bruce Buffer, even Dana White himself endorses this product. And right now, you can get 25% off. They are delicious. I'm not just saying that. I got a massive box sent to my house. There is the garlic parmesan. That's my favorite. You got the white cheddar and the salty sweet kettle corn. They all taste amazing. They're perfect when you want to sit down, watch a movie with Lucas and not be a fat bastard. You don't want to undo all the exercise and all the gains you've just made in the gym. But come on, we're all humans. We want to have a snack. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to eat something delicious. And by the way, gluten-free, preservatives-free, 100% whole grain, keto-friendly, and only 70 calories per cup, and all made right here in the US of A. So right now, get yourself over to kudosnacks.com, use the promo code BELIEVE, and you will get 25% off. That is 25% off with the code BELIEVE at kudosnacks.com, Kudo. kudosnacks.com. Save money, support the official protein popcorn of the UFC, and let's get popping. Anything breaking that we haven't got to, Harrington?
Nothing UFC related. Couple big fight things from just other places, but it's fillers.
No. Yeah, we're not going to break down bare knuckle FC and stuff like that. All right, well, I guess it's question time then. We've done an hour and a half, and we have lives. I'm starving. I'm hungry. I was so tired last night. I'm starving. I was driving home last night. Do you ever have this? I got a new car, as I said.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what the steering wheel's so sensitive. And like, I feel like I could go all over the road. I might get it looked at. But I was so tired driving home. I felt so unsafe behind the wheel. So it took forever to get back. I was having to go about 55 miles an hour because I was so tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just kind of herky-jerky all over the place.
Fucking hours. Oh, dear. So we'll wrap it up.
Get over that drive, right?
Say again?
I'm probably sick of that drive, right?
I am, but I get to come home. I'm here now. If I wasn't, if I didn't do that,
you'd just be getting home. Yeah.
We wouldn't have a podcast, guys. I'm risking my life for the podcast.
Thank you for investing your time and effort.
This is how much the believers mean to me. This is what I'll do. They
don't get it sometimes either. I walked all the way down those stairs by myself. It's crazy.
Are we doing a podcast in person at the Meta Studios in New York, Anthony?
Hell yeah. I'll be there.
Damn right we are.
I get in Thursday morning.
Do you have obligations Thursday?
No, they just got canceled because of Jon and Stipe getting canceled. So I did have obligations on Thursday.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Right. Looks like we're gonna be at the bar by 6.
I was gonna say all I'm hearing is BYM and then a bender.
BYM bender. We should tweet out what the address and see if people can come in and crash the party. But still.
That's a great idea.
If you got a question, send it into bympod@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on Spotify,
whoa, you did the timing perfect, but you got that baby yapping in the background.
Yeah, she won't stop.
Shake it.
That'll work.
Hold on. Here's Brian, all upset about what YouTube might take us down for. He's saying to shake the baby. Rebecca just piped up. Oh my God.
If you are listening on Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops. And if you want to catch over 500 episodes you can't find anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get a 7-day free trial. Check it out with 20 great shows on the network.
Harrington.
Whoa, yes.
Sorry, I was only joking when I said about the baby crying.
Oh, no, I shook her. She's done.
Nice.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I do everything you guys tell me to on this show. It's fine.
You looked really sad there, and I thought either I've pissed you off or Brian and the shaking baby thing has pissed you off.
She's never going to be the same again, so it's a little sad.
Brian, stop tripling down.
No, I'm good.
Oh my
gosh. Oh my God.
Right.
Brian steals the show again.
First question we have today is from
Ed Baby Jokes. Great. We've hit a new low.
Jimmy from Jersey.
Oh, Jimmy.
What's up, BYM? Two quick questions. Jimmy from Jersey here. I was pretty young back in the rise and the prime of Jon Jones and especially Anderson Silva. Was there ever a talk between both of them in a super fight? And if so, why didn't it happen? And who do you guys think would have won that? And can you fight with AIDS, HIV, and do they test that before fights? Or how does that work, dude? Because there's blood flying and shit. So, yeah, thanks.
Well, I mean, that was kind of a quick.
That was like a big swing.
Anderson Silva versus Jon Jones. I mean, that's crazy. That fight should have happened. And by the way, can you fight with AIDS?
Yeah, no, you cannot.
No, they do blood tests. They do stringent medicals. You can't fight with AIDS, but there was discussion. I don't think there was ever serious. I mean, I'm sure the UFC would have loved to have done it. It was floated. It was talked about. Anderson and Jon even played up to it. They had a couple of little sparring matches, joking in the street and stuff. They had a lot of respect, but I don't think it gained too much traction.
No, not really. Not really. In terms of who would win, I mean,
Jon.
Yeah, Jon.
For sure.
All right. For next question we have here is from Ian Langley.
Hi up, everybody. Ian here, on his way to work in sunny England, pissing it down the rain as usual. And this is where I usually listen to your podcast on my way to work. Thank you for keeping me company on many a journey. I couldn't get through this fucking traffic without you. Anyway, my question is, with Jones now out of the fight and Stipe not taking any of the alternatives, do we see Stipe back in the octagon ever again? I don't think we will personally, but I wanted to get your thoughts, Mike and Anthony. And my second question is, you're doing towels from the octagon too in Manchester and in London. What about the Midlands, bro? You know,
fucking hell, mate.
As well, and you know that anything further than 20 minutes in England is a road trip, and it's not going to happen. So, what's going to happen there? And also, will you be putting your ticket prices up when you've got the heavyweight champion of the world, Big Tom Aspinall, with you? Come on, Tom! Come on!
Love that.
Oh, he's right. You know, in England, 20, 30 minutes, that's it. Unless like you're like hardcore businessman, salesman driving up and down the country or whatever. Average Joe ain't driving too far. They just want, like in the States, 2-3 hour road trip is nothing. 5 hours, nothing. 7 hours, who gives a shit?
My commute to the office is 2 hours.
See what I mean? Case in point. Yeah. I think I've said this before, but I remember when I first started wanting to be, I was going to be a boxer, and I had to get my license, and I had to pass a piss test. I was smoking a bit of weed, so I had to go get something to clean out my system in Manchester. And I drove over to Manchester. One of my mates at the time said, "You're just going to drive to Manchester? It's only about 40 minutes. I said, yeah. He said, you're just going to drive to Manchester by yourself? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, oh, it's mad that. I couldn't do that. I'm like, you've been driving about 10 fucking years. It's not the other side of the world. We're in the same county. What are you talking about? Yeah.
That's
dear.
funny.
Do you think Tom's going to put his price up?
He might. You're going to have to pay him more. You're going to have to pay him.
No.
You better, if he does, you better start charging for that advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom, you're on the clock now. It's $40 an hour.
Nah, I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think we answered the Jon Jones Stipe question.
We did
during the episode.
I think we went into extreme depths about that one.
I hope he pays attention early.
Isn't it crazy that all the pullouts? I mean, we just had Kamaru.
Yeah.
Sorry, other way around. Costa. Oliveira.
Yeah.
Jon Jones.
Yeah, those are big names.
What are the other big ones we've had recently? Obviously, there was Tony Ferguson and Khabib. What are the legendary dropouts has there been?
Well, there was the Jon Jones cancellations with DC. That was a big one. Then he ended up fighting Anderson on short notice. When that UFC 200.
Yeah.
It was a big fight cancellation.
I don't think a title fight that like fell apart last minute.
Oh,
well, who cares? It's the end of the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to think on that and come back.
It's the end of the show, bro. It doesn't matter. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't done so. Please. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Why aren't they subscribing?
I know. Just subscribe. You watch it. We know you're watching. Just hit the thing. We don't bother you that much. There's not that many notifications. Promise.
We'll be back on Monday.